It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Friday, the 1st of August. I'm Michael Groff. Hope you enjoyed the isolated thunderstorms we had across the area last night. Some of you are probably wondering what I'm talking about, but yes, from Avondale to downtown Phoenix over toward Tempe, we did have one or two little cells that popped up yesterday afternoon, producing some gusty winds and some locally heavy rain. But I know a lot of you didn't see anything at all, and unfortunately, that's going to be the way it is for the next 7 days or so, as the monsoon is all but on hiatus around here. The big weather headline will be the heat. Temperatures heating up. We have an extreme heat warning in effect for today and tomorrow in the valley, but by next week, that's where a potentially longer-lasting and dangerous heat wave comes on in, with temperatures perhaps getting close to, if not exceeding, the hottest weather we've had so far this year. We'll give you all the details on that. Plus, something I have never seen in all of my years looking at weather, a potential record-breaking event, a world record. We'll talk about that and so much more. But first, sponsor time. Hey everyone, it's Michael Groff here to talk to you about your roof. With all the extreme weather we have in Arizona, you need a name you can trust, and that's why you should call Blackstone Roofing Group for all of your roofing needs. Call for your free inspection today. Big or small, they do it all. Tile, shingle, or flat roofing, they can help. Offering free inspections and more. Roofing made easy. Call 602-536-9363 or visit blackstoneroofing.com to schedule your free inspection today. And if you tell them Michael Groff sent you, they'll take $500 off the price of your roof replacement. Again, that's 602-536-9363 or blackstoneroofing.com. See, it's not all bad news because, after all, today is Friday, and that means it's Photo Friday here. That's where we take a look at some of the photos and or videos that you guys have submitted. And first up, David Parnell. He was out and about. This is from Apollo High School. No, high school sports, not in effect yet, but David walking around, snapping some pictures, sending those pictures into us. It's that easy. Hopefully you're drinking plenty of water because it looks like you were out there in the middle of the day, David. So it's awfully hot out there, but trying to just capture everything as it is. And so appreciate that. And then we go up north to Montana from some pictures here from Buck. And yeah, they're actually getting storms up there. So it's time for us to get a little bit jealous here. This is what we should be seeing this time of year. Believe it or not, some of you youngins may not know this, but you know, we used to have a monsoon season around here where many afternoons, not every day, but at least a few afternoons each week here in the valley, we would be greeted by thunderstorm activity. Now, sometimes we'd get nothing but just some wind and dust, and sometimes we'd get some rain, and sometimes it'd be a deluge, sometimes not much, but it was always interesting. And that was typical from late June, early July through September. And we'd see that. You know, it was the monsoon season. It was this seasonal changing of the wind, and humidity levels would come up, and temperatures would usually come down a little bit. But you know, that's kind of how it worked. I know these sound like fish stories, folklore, something that I just made up, but I assure you, it was a real thing. We just haven't seen it. Anyways, some pictures of sunsets as well from Buck. He sent in just a pile of pictures from up there, and why not? Then we have, here's some rain. This is from Camp Verde. This is courtesy of Doug, looking toward quite a shaft of rain coming down there. Love to see that. Then we go to Jared, and this is the aforementioned isolated storms that developed yesterday afternoon and moved eastward across parts of the valley. And he saw those and sent in the pictures of those to us. So yes, believe it or not, folks, they were out there. Then Miles Sampson, moving from California to Arizona. Heck of a time to do that, Miles. And there's some doves up on the roof. And there's his cat, Pepper, helping him pack and get ready to move on back into the valley. So we welcome you back here, Miles. And, of course, you'll be sending us some more pictures, and that's great news. Then, let's see. This is from CJ. Video here. And I appreciate anybody that gets out there and helps us out. And hey, if there's a storm out there or something that you can video, and you can do so safely, of course, encourage you to do that. And speaking of, here's Ryan Seek with a great time lapse. And again, if there's a thunderstorm to be found across the state, he will sniff it out. And right now, this is essentially this is a weather version of a unicorn that you're looking at here. A thunderstorm here in Arizona during this monsoon. But this is from east of Gila Bend. And he captured this. That's just gorgeous. Great job, Ryan. Just fantastic work. I wish we had more for you to video. I know that you do an incredible job. I wish it was just one of those situations where there were so many storms, you didn't even know where to go. But still, really do appreciate the effort. And if you guys would like to help us out, send in your photos or videos, groffshow@gmail.com is that email address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for Photo Friday. All right, let's get into it here. Let's start with the obvious. It's hot out there. All right. Almanac from yesterday. 111 degrees the afternoon high, 88 the morning low, 106 and 85 are the averages for this time of year. But if you think it's hot here, you ain't seen nothing. This is from the Qashm Airport on the Persian Gulf. This is from Iran. And something I've never seen in all my years of doing weather. How about 104 degrees and a dew point of 97? Now, if that verifies, and the World Meteorological Organization is going to take a look at this, and they're going to check the instruments to see if they're properly calibrated and all of that. But if that is the case, that will go down as the highest dew point recorded on the face of the earth. Not only that, but when you combine 104 degrees and a dew point of 97, you get a heat index of 182 degrees. Holy cow. Wow. Again, I've never seen anything close to that. But that's the Persian Gulf. When you got water temperatures that are up in the low 90s or so, I mean, the moisture in the air is just unbelievable. I think I read something like in this scenario, 104 dew point 97, there's something like 1.7 ounces of water in each cubic meter of air. That's a lot. For you science geeks out there, I mean, you're just nerding out hardcore right now. All right, so I showed you the climate stats to wrap up July, and that puts the nail in the coffin on what is the 9th hottest July on record here in Phoenix. I know a lot of people said, oh, it was very mild, and yes, compared to 2023, which was the hottest, and 2024, the second hottest, and 2020, which checks in at, well, the third hottest. Yeah, it wasn't as bad by comparison. I mean, we were a full 5.8 degrees cooler than July of 2023 this July, but still the 9th hottest on record. And August is certainly off to a very hot start, it sure looks like. Looking outside right now here at 6:30 a.m., the sun, well, this is actually this is a shot from 5:30 this morning, but we're at 6:30 now is the time we're recording this video. 91 degrees at Sky Harbor. Yeah, it's a little muggy out there. Sure, dew point's up at 61, humidity 36%. Certainly doesn't feel like the Persian Gulf, though. Wind for the east at 5 miles per hour, and the barometer is rising. If you're wondering, dew points above 90 degrees are pretty rare on planet Earth, but right there on the Persian Gulf, that's where you will find them. Satellite out here across the southwest. What's going on with this weather pattern? Well, we have high pressure. It's over the southwest, but it's getting into an unfavorable position to bring in any more monsoon moisture. But yesterday, we got a little push thanks to this decaying inverted trough. There was just enough moisture and dynamic support for some isolated storms over the south central deserts. And we told you this yesterday. We weren't going to put any chance of rain into the forecast because it just wasn't enough to cover the valley. And sure enough, if you were right there south of the I-10 and towards Sky Harbor and getting close to Tempe, and I believe there was one little brief storm that popped up near Scottsdale yesterday. Yeah, you got some rain, maybe even measurable, but everybody else saw essentially nothing. And so now with this ridge kind of setting up over southern Arizona and northern Mexico and upper heights climbing to about 597 decameters today, well, you can see what's going on right now. Severe clear across Arizona, and that's just going to allow temperatures to sizzle. Here's the watch warning map. Those that big area of heat advisories and extreme heat warnings we've had over the Central Plains and the Southeast and much of the East, that's kind of waned a bit now. We still have the heat advisories for parts of Florida, Georgia, the Southeast, but for the most part, those are going away. We still have those air quality alerts, obviously, due to the Canadian wildfire smoke from Manitoba and Saskatchewan. It's coming in across Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and into parts of the central Great Lakes as well. Obviously, for us, the big story is an extreme heat warning. That's in effect here for the Valley, much of Maricopa, Pinal, Pima County, and that is from 10 a.m. this morning through 8 p.m. on Saturday. We have extreme heat watches further to the west of us over Yuma, La Paz, eastern Riverside, and Imperial counties. Now, we also here in Phoenix have an extreme heat watch for much of next week from 10 a.m. Tuesday through 8 p.m. Friday, and that is the potential of a very dangerous heat wave that is expected to come in here during that time, which we're going to talk about in modeling here in just a moment. The convective outlook for today. Again, risk of severe storms, the lee of the Rockies, and through the Intermountain West, the lee of the Rockies, and of course parts of the Atlantic coast. Arizona, we're in the green over central and eastern portions of the state. Thunderstorms are possible. I would say they would be very isolated here in our part of the state today. Yes, again, just like yesterday, we might see a storm pop up someplace, but it's not worthy of putting that mention into a forecast here because the chance of rain in Phoenix is probably about 5%. Maybe less than that. Any storm activity will be confined mostly to the higher terrain of east central and southeast Arizona. The precipitation outlook around here, this is valid through Friday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, nothing statewide, not much, maybe over the central and eastern rim and far southern Arizona. Amounts just barely enough to measure, but generally under 1/10 of an inch. Of course, your amount will vary. An isolated storm can always produce more than what's shown here, but this represents an average of what you will see. All right, let's get into the details of this forecast now. To do that, we explore the models. And here we go. This is the GFS. It's the 06Z run. This is valid at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. And that's a ridge. It's building in right over top of us here in the southwest. It's going to be just sitting here and turning the flow aloft more southwesterly or even westerly today. What it means down at the surface for the rest of the day today, sunny, hot, highs 108 to 112. Isolated thunderstorms over the east central and southeastern portions of the state. A stray storm in the lower deserts, but that's about it. For tonight, mostly clear sky. Overnight lows will generally be in the upper 70s in the coolest spots, mid to upper 80s in the urban core. And then for tomorrow, sunny, hot, highs 110 to 114. And get used to that wording because it's going to be throughout this entire forecast. Mostly sunny and hot on Sunday with highs around 107 to 112 because the ridge is repositioning, so it will take a little bit of time for the real heat of next week to come in here. But still, highs will be around 107 to 112 for Monday, mostly sunny sky. Now, there are indications that we'll see a tiny bit of monsoon moisture come back into the state sometime Monday and into Tuesday. And so the threat for some isolated afternoon and evening showers and storms will be with us over the east central and southeastern parts of the state. Tuesday, we might actually see a storm get into the lower deserts. Might. But it's going to have, we're going to have a real problem here. Despite the fact that we will see a small increase in the amount of moisture, at least at the surface, the upper levels of the atmosphere are going to be capped. We're going to have some very warm air building in thanks to this very intense ridge that's beginning to set up here. Upper heights of about 597 to 599 decameters on Tuesday. And so high temperatures in Phoenix are going to climb back to around 111 to 115. And if you think that's bad, here we go to Wednesday. That is the old 6,000 meter ridge that's sitting across New Mexico and into central and eastern Arizona. The 6,000 or 600 decameter, 6,000 meter contour is almost right on top of us. And so we're going to see high temperatures climbing to around 113 to 117. Any storm activity would be almost totally suppressed. I suppose a stray storm is still possible, but not really here in the valley. The synoptic look certainly doesn't look like we'd see any storms around here. And same thing on Thursday. The ridge, 600 decameter ridge, right on top of us. High temperatures, 114 to 118. These would be close to, if not exceeding, records. And the hottest desert spots are certainly going to flirt with 120 degrees over southwest Arizona and southeast California. Let's keep going. Week from today, Friday the 8th of August. All right, it's not a 600 decameter ridge anymore. It's weakening to a 597 decameter ridge, and it's shifting a little further east now, back toward New Mexico, maybe more of a southeast flow. But again, the thermal profiles don't really support widespread convection. Isolated afternoon and evening storms over the higher terrain are possible, but that's going to be about it. This is Saturday the 9th, and that still looks pretty dry for us. As the ridge, it's over the southwest. It's not completely out of the question. We'll see a little bit of moisture coming in here, but not much. The ridge is, I don't want to say weakening much. It is weakening slightly, with upper heights going back down to about 594 decameters, especially as we go out towards Sunday. This is the 10th of August. And ridge weakens a little bit. And maybe the high center sets up closer to the four corners, and there might be an increase in moisture once again for some widely scattered afternoon and evening storms. But still, this isn't an ideal setup. It's just a little bit better than it was. And at that point, temperatures will taper. I mean, we'll go from highs about 118 on Thursday all the way down to maybe about 105 to 110 or so out there by about Sunday, the 10th of August. And if we can get some higher humidity and moisture in here and maybe some isolated storms, yeah, sure, we could get temperatures even lower than that. But at this point, I wouldn't hold out for that right now. Looking at rainfall for Phoenix out to the 15th of August off the GFS ensemble. This has been the most bullish ensemble data that we've had all summer, and it has been pretty lackluster in its accuracy, but it's got about 1/4 of an inch on the ensemble mean. Really, the Euro AI has done the best job. It's well under 1/10 of an inch. I just don't see really any meaningful chances of rain for the next 10 days. Maybe the pattern shifts a little bit out there toward mid-month, but given where we've been this monsoon season so far, we're kind of a month and a half into the season by the technical definition, a month in really by the standard of our thunderstorm season, and it's been a dud. And so, this is our second opportunity, our second month in, and maybe it gets a little bit better. We'll see. Temperatures off the national blend of models, absolutely horrific. Highs staying well above 110 degrees, maybe 115 or so. And I'm telling you, next Wednesday, Thursday, the core of the heat, I really think highs could push up toward 117 or 118 here in the valley. And then we will see a drop-off after that as high pressure does begin to weaken somewhat, and at least a little bit of moisture comes back into the southwest. Let's check the CPC Outlook, the Climate Prediction Center Outlook for the month of August. First, we'll look at temperatures during the period. And here's a big surprise. The CPC has the probability heavily skewed toward above average temperatures here over the southwest, with below average precipitation favored for at least the Four Corners region and especially across New Mexico, Colorado, and parts of Utah, northeast Arizona. Now here actually over our part of the state, we are in what's called the equal chances category, which means equal probability of below average, above average, or near average precipitation. But given how it's gone so far, I'm not going to hold my breath for an above average August in terms of precipitation. But as I always tell people, one thing to note, it only takes one big storm, and that can blow the averages right out of the water. All right, that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here on Monday morning, but updates before that if necessary. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell. Leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you're really enjoying what we do here, you want to support the channel, click that thanks icon below the video. Here on YouTube, make a monetary contribution to us, or PayPal, groffshow@gmail.com is that PayPal address, groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. Our Venmo is linked up down below as well. And Clayton, thank you so much for another generous donation to us yesterday. Really do appreciate that. All right, the executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation, and the proprietor. There's that banner of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out, blogs, videos, everything Michelle related. It's all linked up down in the description. as well as our streaming station available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music and have a lot of fun there. Give that a look and a listen. And also, check out The Courtroom Files. A big friend of ours, friend of the channel, friend to everybody, The Courtroom Files YouTube channel. You can also see me on a new show over there called Sidebar, Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And of course, it's on demand. I mean, you can just watch it over there whenever. Our episode last night, fantastic. Great to be there with everybody. And so I highly encourage you to check that out as well. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. Please be safe, stay cool, stay hydrated out there, and have yourselves a great Friday and a wonderful weekend.